Hello everyone, this is Sean and welcome back to episode number 4 of our Wattford Skellington Railroad Transport Fever Let's Play. We're on hard difficulty on a free game Euro map. This says USA in my script, I really need to change that. Anyways, we are on a Euro map, you can tell because it's green and not brown. Sorry if I've been misleading you at the introduction to the previous 3 episodes. When we left off it was 1870 and we were upgrading all of our road vehicles is what the plan was. So yeah, that is, I set that up within our line thing here. You can't drag that window down, unfortunately, and make it larger. If there's some way to do that, somebody let me know, because as far as I know, you can't do that. It would be very nice. But anyways, you can see that the trucks are slowly upgrading. We've got all the line upgrades turned on. I'm actually going to borrow some money, max out our borrowing so we can accomplish that a little more quickly. We're going to turn the speed up. I had it turned down for the convenience of this introduction here. Actually, I kind of liked having those lines showing there. I want to see. This looks like it's going to mess up my traffic here really badly. I think it's just because we have these coming out of the station that's causing this problem. And like these guys normally wouldn't be turning, like this little roundabout thing would normally only be used for these vehicles to turn around in. So I think that'll clear up here in a minute as soon as these vehicles get through there. Looks like we're making pretty good progress on all of our upgrades. The beta oil is actually done, so we can turn that one off. It's important to remember that you turn these things back to 100% before you change it, because if you have them set to 25%, it's going to start telling you that you have vehicles that are too old and need to be replaced when they're only at 25%. So just a random little bit of knowledge there to throw your way. And look at that, everything's working super smooth with this turnaround thing that I set up. I didn't really set it up intentionally. I don't want to take too much credit for it. It was completely by accident. But it's going to work, that's for sure. Alright, we've just got one vehicle in each of those lines that need to be upgraded, and we'll be in good shape. Hauling more efficiently. Look at this, we are clearing all this stuff out of here. So now we've got 2 lines running out of this one, which means we need to get more trains going here. We are not keeping up with the oil demand. So we will want to, just getting more trains will... Actually, that's not true. Getting more trains won't help that out at all. The vehicles, but these new faster vehicles should help out in that sense. But one thing I wanted to with this new train that we're going to put on this line is maybe make it a little unbalanced as far as goods and oil are concerned. Actually, you know what? Let's just do one that's all cattle and food. Because the tank wagons carry 5 and the goods wagons only carry 4. And right now each train has 3 and 3, and so that means each train is carrying 3 more oil than they are goods. So we need to do something to overcome that unbalance. So we're going to add that on there, and we're going to throw this onto the existing line, and then hopefully that will help clear out some of this food overstock. My inclination is to do 2 trains like that, but I think that would be the wrong thing to do. We've had quite a while where that stuff is just building up, so we want to give it a chance to get caught up here. Now, hopefully, this one, the demand is going to pick up. Hopefully, it's going to pick up, and which will drive the production at our oil well here up quite a bit, and we won't have to have as much stuff running empty. So what kind of demand do we have here in Watford? Again, very strong demand for such an early game. We're already in the 60s, which is fantastic. What we could start doing is setting up the passenger line, which is going to allow, like, towns don't grow until you put passengers in there. You can see Watford here is staying very steady, and Skellington, which has been getting goods now for 15 years? We started getting them in the mid 1850s. The population, I guess, has grown a little bit, and then it shrunk back down, which is weird. Why would it do that? Why would all those things die off? they really peaked around 1868. And then they all dropped off when we upgraded all of our trains. It's bizarre. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what would cause that. But what we can do while we are waiting for those things is we can start getting our kind of plan out our passenger line here. So we've got this road going through here, and it kind of comes around and connects up there. Maybe not the best, like a better straight line would probably be right here. We could improve the efficiency of that line if we just cut this one over like that. I'm kind of tempted to do that. We do have the money for it. You know what? Let's do it. Why just think about it? Why not just do it? So we're going to have you go like that. I know we just built that other road, so you might argue, oh, that's a waste of $70,000 or whatever it is, but it's only $70,000. It's not that much money. Although we are trying to save up to buy another train, aren't we? But we want this line to run more efficiently, and that will make us more money in the long run. We need to get the demand going for this town anyways, in order to justify the additional trains if we're going to go that route. So we should focus on that. Almost there. No, these things keep digging into the ground, and I really don't like spending the money on. It's funny how I just wasted 70 grand or whatever it was that I wasted on upgrading this road, and which I'm now undoing. But whatever. All right, and see, the vehicles are already smart enough to take the shorter route on their way back home, and then we'll be able to tear up those roads once we get to that point. Just like we can tear this road up right now. No point in having that road there. Why not spend a bunch of money to destroy that road? The reason that we are spending that money to destroy that road is because I'm going to want to run a train line through there. Don't really need to worry about keeping that connected. What is that? It's a steel plant. I mean, it technically is still connected because it connects over here. There we go. This road is pointless. Alright, any vehicles on this road? Not anymore. Doesn't look like there's any up on that end there. Great. That's looks like a lumber camp, so I might want to keep that connected in some manner. I'll end up building my own roads to reconnect it later, but I'll keep it connected like that. Just, I don't know if that does any good or makes any difference at all, but whatever. Okay, so now we're set there. Look at all this money we have. We can afford to buy another train. I'm gonna throw another train on. Ah, shit. Stupid me. Luckily, those are cheap. All right, there we go. Buy train. One of those, and then we'll do 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, and we will set you to this other line, but I kind of want to try to spread you out if I can. Are there any real imbalances in these trains? Not really. They do seem pretty well balanced out, so I might as well just throw you on wherever. Now they're not really filling up on oil. Ah, good. So now they're already getting those goods going to Watford. So I'm happy to see that. I could set these cars to wait until full, but again, I really worry about that wait until full thing, especially when you're on the final leg, on the delivery leg. I wonder if that kind of stymies the demand, and then that could screw up our entire chain if something like that were to happen. We really don't want that to happen. So seems like the production over here is holding up fairly well. Limit of 200. So has this one upgraded yet? Oh, good, it has. Wow, look at that. Production is huge over there now. All right, we're up to $500,000. Now it's going to take a while to get to get, actually I should probably set the station. I don't like setting the stations so early because they're expensive, you know. All right, so Skellington is going to connect to Watford, and I suppose it could, in theory, connect to Burton Latimer eventually. We would have to have some goods going into Burton Latimer because passengers rarely profitable on their own. I look at passengers as being so like in the grocery industry, there's this thing called a loss leader, and basically it's like milk. You know, you sell milk at a price to where you're not really going to make a profit, but the reason you do that is because everybody buys milk and you put milk at the back of the store. So you take a loss on your milk, but it leads people to the back of the store, and then they're going to buy chips and, you know, whatever, turkeys, or I guess turkeys are a loss leader, so that's not a good example, but, you know, they're going to buy chips and beans and all the other stupid things that people buy at the grocery store on their way to buy the milk, and so that's a loss leader. So passengers are kind of a loss leader in this game because when you run passengers, it makes your towns grow, and then that allows you to haul more goods like food and oil, which is what we want to be able to haul more of here. So we'll be able to haul more of those very profitable goods, and eventually, yeah, I get that. Eventually, we will be trying to get something like actual goods or tools or something like that in here, in which case these passengers will definitely help. Well, they're not really going to raise the demand on those, but they will just, you know, the more passengers we're running, the more demands will be in, the more stuff we'll be able to deliver, the bigger the profit. So if we run this line, I'm thinking maybe run it across here, because then we could connect over to Halifax, we could connect down to Howden. We could, if we run it down here, we could also connect over to Southall or something like that. I think Watford might actually end up being a pretty large passenger hub. So I'm going to put in a hefty station. Ah, shit, I didn't make the platform long enough at Skellington. So that means I'm going to have to tear that station down and rebuild it, which is unfortunate. You know, actually for passengers, the super long track might not be necessary. I mean, I'm going to still go ahead and do the long station here, but I don't think I need to tear down the one. I don't think I need to tear it down over at the other place. So let's throw that right there, and then we will put in the connectors on this end. There we go. Now they don't need to be straight. A lot of times I end up making them straight, although it's really not necessary. They can be curved, and they can still have a little X connector in there. So I'm going to go ahead and do that just because it's kind of neat looking. And then it's going to prove me wrong, and it's going to give me all sorts of stupid stuff. But it didn't this time. Great. All right. So we're connecting from there over to here. And probably want to cross over somewhere around there. So that is a little hill right there, but it's not really that big a deal. Come on now, there we go. T and 6, there we are. I guess we don't really need the. It's kind of the wrong curve, anyways. That's right. We were keeping that road there. Let's, even though this road is completely unnecessary at this point, let's plan ahead and we'll just run it down here. Eventually probably tear this road up, but whoops, didn't mean to pause it. We have lots of money. Let's repay some of those loans so we can cut down on our interest payments while we're fiddling around with these train tracks. We're gonna go, whoa, that is a lot of fill to build that down. There we go. Keep that short. Nice little steep decline. You don't really need to worry about high speeds when you're coming out of a station because, you know, obviously the train's going to be slowing down. It's either going to be slow coming out of the station or it's going to slow down soon enough as soon as it gets into the station. So I don't mind having a steep hill at the station entryway, especially when you have the little crossover thing, because a lot of times they're going to cross over from one track to another. The main thing where you want to have the highest speed is when you're in the middle of your track. so that, you know, once it gains all its acceleration, it doesn't lose it. That's kind of the key thing to having a high-speed train. Okay, so then we can make these curves pretty easy. There we go. We will, in case you don't know, pushing the M and N keys there, that's how I got that to, there's M and N, so they will raise and lower the track, so you can use that to level the track out and follow the terrain a little better. I really like my tracks to lay flat along the terrain. It saves you money, like you don't have to put in as much fill, and then I think it just looks nicer too. So we are coming from over here. I was way disoriented there. All right, and we're going to there. Cool. And which track is that? That is the, oh, inside track, huh? All right, so we're going to go ahead and put that one there. We'll know how to better connect it. There's another train, but we're going to skip this Prussian. The Prussian does give us a nice little boost on so the Borsig is 28 miles an hour, and the Prussian is 31, so it does go up 3 miles an hour. But I don't necessarily, like the running costs are twice as expensive. There's another train that comes out in about 10 years, and we just upgraded all these trains. So I don't want to go through and do a whole nother round of upgrades. That would eat up all of our money and not really provide that much of a benefit. So I can see that we've got some stuff piling up here. So we're going to go ahead and throw another train on this line here. And we'll do 1 and then 3 and 3. And just put that there. Close those down. We don't have any spare goods sitting there, so we're not exceeding our demand or anything. Skellington, 50%. Watford, 50%. Not even 50% on the oil. I didn't really, I think I might have made a slight mistake in how I set up that rail line there as well. So I'm probably going to end up, that was kind of a waste of some money, I think. We'll have to try to ameliorate that as well as we can. I guess I could do that by, I don't know, we definitely want to have a shorter line. So we are going to end up losing out on some of that, some of the benefits, or you know what I mean, some of the money that I've already spent. But we'll connect it up here in a minute. So let's, whoops, construction not possible. You're so picky, game. There we go. But I like the, well, you know what? What do I care about this road? So it doesn't even belong there. And, you know, your tracks, you guys are going to disappear too, so that's going to tear you up at this point. So much money wasted. But luckily, we have been building our tracks efficiently and intelligently, so even though we just kind of threw some money away, we're going to throw some more money away too, because this arc is, let's straighten it out here, and then we'll match you guys up here in a minute. Oh, that's right, because we were trying to go around the the hill there. There we go. We'll match you up and drop you down. Nope, that's too much. There we go. Beautiful. And then I will erase that piece right there. Great. And now we've got a nice double track. So we'll just run you along there. And sometimes it gets a little finicky when you try to go over the interchanges there. So you want to do it just, no, not like that, dummy. You want to go like that. Beautiful. So it slows it down to 70 miles an hour there. I don't like that, but oh well. And then I guess I still have it paused, huh? Whoops. And we're going to move that. And then we're going to go there. Beautiful. All right. And over here, same thing. Like that. You can do it. Beautiful. And whoops, cancel. There we go. All right, so now we've got our 2 passenger trains stations. Now there's not really enough. We're just going to divide this into 2. We'll put a crossover kind of here in the middle, I think. I'll even make it a little bit of a quick crossover. I mean a high-speed crossover. longer distance but higher speed. There we go, and now we can just throw some signals down. I always like to start my signals at the crossovers and then do the one-way signals that are going to be the length of a train. Now, since this is going to be a passenger line, we probably don't need to worry about having as much distance between the signals. We can have shorter blocks. I don't like to mix my passenger and freight lines. Since the game doesn't charge you maintenance for your lines, or if it, I mean, it does charge maintenance, I suppose, but it's kind of a joke how much maintenance it charges. It's so meaningless. Your rail costs are like a one-time expense. So there's very little reason other than aesthetics to combine your trains onto lines. Like you could build an entire line for every single train if you wanted to. It would look pretty ugly, but it would be, I guess it would be marginally more efficient than whoops, I got that backwards. That would be marginally more efficient than running a standard dual line like this. Whoops, that's not what I want to do either. Not sure where I was going with that. Oh yeah, there's no point in not building separate lines for freight versus passenger. And actually there's a lot of benefits to not combining your passenger and freight lines or trains onto the same line. One benefit being that as your passenger trains, there's a lot of passenger specific trains that will be different speed possibilities that you can't really take advantage of if you are using a combined line, because your passenger specific trains wouldn't be able to mix in with the freight trains that you have running. Now, one mistake that I made here is I didn't leave room for this line to get out of town, and it was going to go down to Burton Latimer, wasn't it? So it really wants to go this way. I'm not going to run it through the center of town. That's a terrible idea, but if I try to run it around this way, I guess I can make it across those hills all right. So I'll set up this outgoing track, except I didn't even want to do that. I keep making mistakes. We're going to go like this, right? But what I forgot to do is level it out, because if you don't level it out, you won't be able to build that crossover. It has to be leveled to build the crossover track. And sometimes even there, if you have too much curvature or something, it's still going to be a little funky. So let's put in a little more space. There we go. And then leave enough room for our station, you know what I mean, instructions on which platform to go to. Throw our signals in here. There you go, like that. Beautiful. Okay, so now we've got a nice passenger platform over there. We have a nice passenger platform over here. I'm going to go ahead and put the exit lines on over here. This will help prevent the city from building streets directly next to your station, which can really cause problems with trying to build these kind of exits later on in the game. I always like to have my crossover tracks like right near the station, because they are going to slow trains down quite often, and you know, you want to if you can put off that slowing down as much as you can. And then also it's just more efficient that way. It's all about being more efficient. I like building my passenger trains out of town. You're going to have a bus taking people from the passenger train to the bus station anyways, so you may as well have it go a reasonable distance. Cool. So now we've got a passenger line set up. Oh, look at that! We are hauling all of the goods out of here. Maybe a little too well, actually. So I might need to pull one of these trains off of the line here, which is kind of a surprise. I didn't expect to run into that problem. So let's find one of these mixed consists. That one is a mixed consist, right? So I think I'm going to pull the next one. There we go, and we will send that to the station. And basically, you pretty much always want to have you don't quite want to meet all of your demand at 100%. I like to meet my demand at like 90-95%, and if there's some unmet demand, then that means your train should be running full at all times. All right, so that's all I've got for this episode. I'm going to put in a break here, and I hope you have enjoyed watching. Be sure to leave some comments down in the comment area. I'd like to hear from you guys, and I want to say I really appreciate you watching. I am happy that people enjoy watching me sit here and play video games. It's a strange world that we live in, where I can sit and play video games and you guys will spend your time watching me do that, but I'm not complaining. It makes me feel good, and I'm glad all my imaginary internet friends like watching me do this stuff. So thank you for watching, guys, and we will see you next time. Bye.